Good evening to all of you, wherever you may be tuning in from, through the IG, through the Facebook, the Twitter, the X, all the different platforms. I am Matthew Hatfield. I'm going to give you our 5 takeaways as we turn the calendar from September to October. And let's give them to you here in chronological order from 1 to 5, as it was an exciting night for high school football action. There weren't as many mega matchups across the board. We highlighted some of them on our VIP picks for folks up on VirginiaPreps.com, like Grimsley of North Carolina playing host to Verona, who lost a close one-score ball game. Still a pretty good showing for Verona. Like Midlothian, Manchester, Sharando, Millbrook, Carroll County, Glenver. Then you had some games that lived up to the billing. The ones that lived up to the billing were Westfield, Lake Braddock, which we'll get to in a moment, Salem, Green Run, Heritage of Lynchburg, a game I considered going to in person, and also staying home and watching on the NFHS Network, the live stream. Didn't do that. Ended up going to a game in Virginia Beach, and turned out to be a pretty good call for yours truly. But let's give it to you here from 1 to 5. There's a couple of surprise stories. Coming into the week, we had 35 unbeatens left in Virginia High School League football. And one of them quietly rolling along, and now 5-0 for the first time since 1987, the Caroline Cavaliers, who, if you don't know anything about Caroline being in Milford, Virginia, you say, who are they? What are they? Why do we care about them? Well, we're going to tell you why you care about them, because they're now averaging 45.4 points per game, 42-7 thumping of James Monroe, who's been a power in the past years ago. It's now a team to pay attention to in Region 4B, because I'm projecting right now that they can go undefeated 10-0 for the first time in an awful long time. And by the way, 5-0 for the first time since 1987. Next up is Eastern View. That's a game that matters because, Eastern View's not having the greatest of seasons. They have been known for their great linebacker, Brett Clutterbull, who's been a multi-time All-State performer here in recent years. But Eastern View has not lost to the Cavs since 2012, and 8 straight wins for Eastern View over Caroline. So if Caroline gets that win in a region where you hear about Dinwiddie and Verina and Huguenot and Louisa, there could be 3 undefeated teams in that region right there with Dinwiddie, Louisa, and possibly Caroline. Watch out for them. Like what they're doing. Number 2 on the Hats hits on our quick hitters, the takeaways. The game of the night was the one I went to in Virginia Beach, where Green Run was down for the second consecutive weeks by double figures. They were down last week 10-0 on the road at Kempsville. Tonight, they're trailing 14-7 at the half, despite holding Salem to 15 total yards of offense. You say, how does Salem have the lead? Isaiah Bray runs in a fumble that his teammate Marcus McCoy strips, 42 yards. Salem partially blocked a punt early in the ballgame, scored off of that. 14-7 Salem at the break. They pushed it to 21-7. Green Run cut it to 7. Then Salem pushed it up again to 28-14. As Mr. Harden was running really well for Salem in the backfield, a couple of long runs for him to the house. He had a big second half. And now Green Run's winning streak in serious jeopardy in the Beach District. Haven't lost a game since the COVID-shortened spring year of 2021 to Salem, but they make it 56 straight wins over Beach foes, 48 in the regular season. They showed a resolve. A lot of penalties. They got to clean up some things on the interior, a little soft up the middle in terms of the O-line and D-line, but they get the job done. Charles Jackson, the ODU commit, has a heck of a game. In the second half, he runs the ball 14 times. He finishes up 26 attempts for 92 yards and the game-winning score, and a couple of unsung heroes for Green Run in this game, one of which was Chadney Cross, a sophomore, with a touchdown catch and a punt return that tied the thing up at 28 apiece. So Green Run got a new quarterback, have some injuries, not going easy. They got a target on their back. They get it done. And I don't know if they're off in the clear necessarily in the Beach or Region 5A, where Indian River's thinking about being a team that can knock them off. They did it 2 years ago. It took them to overtime last year in the region semis. But Green Run still is probably the top challenger to 2-time defending state champ Maury in Class 5, who, by the way, if you're just paying attention, scored 91 points. 91 points against Booker T. Washington on Friday night, and it's Eastern District matchup. So Green Run, hats off to them. Big win. A couple of unsung heroes stepping up to go with Jackson, the ODU commit, running the football. and they get it done. Number 3, speaking of some comebacks, we highlighted Lake Braddock in Northern Virginia. Big matchup with Westfield. And Lake Braddock's only blemish coming in was a forfeit game that they had to give up that they won over Alexandria City, but they're reigning 2-time Occoquan Region 6C champs. Got a quarterback committed to Norfolk State and Ty Jackson, and a captain at tight end and Zach Hibner, whose older brother Matt's been a big-time tight end in the college football sphere of things. Michigan, then SMU. And Zach catches the game-winning score from Ty Jackson as they were down 23-14. Westfield blocked a couple of punts in this game. I think a field goal they ran back. Some craziness in this game with Lake Braddock and Westfield. It looked like it was out of reach for Lake Braddock in this matchup, but they're able to rally despite the special teams brilliance from Westfield, who had the 2 punt returns, I should say, for scores and the blocked field goal. Big win for Lake Braddock. They look to be the team to beat in Region 6C, and they could be one of the Final Four teams yet again as they're able to do it with the offense stepping up in crunch time. We've seen this from Colonial Forge lately. Lake Braddock has to step up. There's a team or two every week that has to kind of pull one out of the fire. Green Run's been doing it the last couple of weeks. It's not always smooth sailing. You win by 35, 42 points, blowout city. They get the job done in an important victory for them. Dustin Rule says Green Run's not beating more this year. I didn't say they were going to beat them, Dustin. I just said they're the top challenger at the moment in Class 5. And if you don't think they are, tell me who it is. That's why you're able to interact with us on Facebook or IG or Twitter or X, wherever you're watching the show. I still got more number 1 in the rankings. My last rankings in Class 5 had Green Run at number 2. I pull up my top 10 as we talk here. Number 3 ascending up to there was Stonebridge, who I think has as elite a defense as there might be in Class 5. 4 through 10, the likes were Nansman River, Highland Springs, who just shut out Phoebus 28-0, Warwick, who knocked off Phoebus last week to end their 51-game winning streak, Patrick Henry of Roanoke, who we'll get to in a moment, Kings Fork, who lost to Oscar Smith last week, Riverbend, and Hermitage. Your honorable mentions were Indian River, Bayside, Salem, of Virginia Beach, Glen Allen, and Kempsville. So, yeah, let me know, Dustin, who it is. I still think Maury's a team to beat. I'm just saying they played them state semis to a 1-score game and look like the top challenger. And right now, my top challengers across the board in each classes would be Oscar Smith's the favorite in 6, top challenger Colonial Forge. Class 4, Verona the team to beat, top challenger Dinwiddie. Class 3, people will get upset about this, Heritage of Lynchburg, who beat Thomas Jefferson of Richmond pretty impressively on this night. Aiden Slash leading the way at quarterback, David Bradley running the ball for Coach Brad Bradley's Pioneers. Top challenger, the 2-time defending state champion Liberty Christian Academy Bulldogs, which I'm sure my partner on 757 Sports Talk, Coach Young, will fight me off on Saturday saying, how are they the top challenger when they're 2-time defending state champs? Well, they graduated Gideon Davidson, and I think Heritage has moved ahead of them. We have time to settle that, though, later on in the Seminole District play. We'll see if LCA can shut me up, make me eat some crow, take my medicine, and if they are still the team to beat in Class 3, not Heritage of Lynchburg. By the way, Magna Vista right behind them. And in Class 2, Class 1, I got Glenver number 1, Union the top challenger with Pocosin and Armstrong right there looking in. And in Class 1, the defending champ, Essex the team to beat. Top challengers being Eastside, Rappahannock, and Rye Cove. And oh, by the way, big games next week. We talked about Loudoun County, Loudoun Valley last week on the show. They meet October 10th. You got a monster game in Coburn, Virginia next week. Eastside and Rye Cove. They played in the region championship last year. Had a doozy of a game. That could be the last team with the ball wins type of doozy of a game. And then also next week on Thursday night in Region 2D, the Union Bears taking on the Ridgeview Wolfpack. That should be a fun one to watch on NFHS for folks on Thursday if you pay attention to football in Southwest Virginia. But let me get back to my regularly scheduled programming here and go back to what we were talking about here on the hits. And number 4 on the hits, after we talked about number 3 being Lake Braddock, 2 was Green Run, 1 was Caroline. Number 4, the GW Danville Eagles. They lost by a wide margin to Reidsville of North Carolina. I think it was 42-14 in the opener. They've now won 4 in a row, beating Amherst, EC last. No big deal. But the bigger deals, beating Laura Botetourt last week, 34-31. Laura Botetourt known for its strength and its hard-nosed running attack. And then they're done at the half against William Fleming, a Class 5 team that's pretty darn good. And they pitch a second-half shutout to show they had the defensive prowess to get it done, 27-16 over Fleming. So I like what I'm seeing. Last year, they won 10 straight. Season opening loss. This group looks like it's poised to go even deeper for a playoff push in Region 4D. And the final hats hit that we'll give you here on the show is it's time for folks in Class 5 to pay attention to Patrick Henry Roanoke. All right, we talked about the favorites at the top of the board. If you're looking at region by region, you say in Region A, it's Green Run. Region B, it's two-time defending state champ Maury, who is the team to beat. Region C, it's probably Highland Springs. Region D, Stonebridge looks like they've, solidified themselves with their great defense that has a bunch of prospects, including Coach Kedrick Golston's son, who's going to Tennessee, and Chase Jeter on the back end, who's committed to Syracuse, Langston Pridgeon, among others, Caden Golston, another Golston son. But Patrick Henry Roanoke in Region 5C with Highland Springs and Glen Allen, time to pay attention to them because they beat Fleming a couple weeks ago 14-2 and kind of a eyebrow raiser of a score. And then tonight, as they're enjoying their first 6-0 start in 25 years, they drubbed the Salem Spartans 49-7. I know Salem's having a down year, but on Willis White Field to do that, biggest margin in the series history, in the 40 all-time meetings, even before Salem was known as Salem, they were Andrew Lewis. Pretty big deal. And if you haven't been paying attention to the numbers that Syracuse commit Cameron Hairston Taylor's been putting up, he's catching bombs away every week. He's got 4 or 5 interceptions, I think it is, had a 60-yard punt return. They're going to be a tricky out. That's all I'm going to say. They're going to be a tricky out in 5C, and they might be the team that's going to sneak up on people around the state. I think people in Roanoke are finding out how good they are, have learned it, but the rest of the state might be late to the party if they don't get on board here in the next few weeks before we get to regionals coming up in early November. So there you have it. Those are the hits, the big winners on the night. Comebacks for Lake Braddock and Green Run. Decisive win for Patrick Henry Roanoke. Impressive win for GW Danville, also coming back from a halftime deficit in their game. And Caroline, the Cavaliers in Region 4B, looking mighty, mighty strong. A couple of hat tips as well. I want to shout out wide receiver at Powhatan High School, Ben Whitver. You say, why are you shouting him out? Well, this young man is coming up on a milestone of 3,000 yards receiving. And he has a chance to be the all-time receiving leader in VHSL history. JMU commit, Powhatan High School, continues to put up big numbers week after week after week on the gridiron in high school football in Virginia. I also want to give a nod to a couple other schools and storylines. We mentioned it happened last Saturday. Warwick beating Phoebus. Mighty, mighty big deal, and a great job for them to win that game to end what was a winning streak of 51 in a row for the 4-time defending state champion Phantoms. Thomas Sykes' crew behind Terrius Downtown Brown, running for over 200 yards and 3 scores on that one. And Warwick looking like a team that will be heard from again in Region 5B. That's a darn tough region to get out of where you have Maury at the top. Nance, whenever is undefeated this year. Kings Fork is not going to go away quietly. So there's 4 legitimate top 10 championship caliber teams in that region to deal with. They're all physical and can make things tough for people. And now one more that I want to give a hat tip to on this particular night of high school football, and that is East Rockingham. 10-3 win over Rocktown. Last game for their AD, Eric Phillips. They go to 4-1. He's taking on a new job with the VHSL. So big props to them. They get the win, send off one of their administrators in a happy, good way. So there you have it. College football and the pro football coming up this weekend. You know, there's not a bunch of great matchups. Last weekend was the better weekend for the college football on the board. You know, you had the Georgia showdown with Alabama. Alabama knocks them off, got that one wrong. Oregon comes to Penn State, beats James Franklin. What's new? He can't win a big game. You know, wake me up when he does, I guess. Vanderbilt goes to Alabama. Now, Alabama wants revenge for what happened to them last go-round. I don't see them slipping on the Benny appeal against an undefeated Diego Pavia-led Vandy team that's trying to get to 6-0. So I like them there. Sneaky upset special. Coach likes to pick these. Don't be shocked if Purdue at home is to knock off Illinois in a top 25 game. That could happen. Purdue's offense is getting better slowly but surely here. And if their defense can get pressure on Luke Altmaier, it's a trap game. I'm surprised Boise's as big a dog as they are, 21.5 to Notre Dame. I think they will. If you say hello to Coach Dorsey out there watching. I'm not going to talk about the Thundering Herd tonight. Sorry, Coach. Maybe another time. But I'm surprised Boise is as big a dog, 21.5 against Notre Dame. I think that's too big a number against Madsen and company. They don't have Ashton Genty anymore with the Raiders, but I'm curious to see if UVA, coming off its big win over Florida State, can go win at Louisville. They're a 6.5-point dog. I don't think they will. Sorry, Wahoos fans. I know there's a big game in the Commonwealth, by the way. Battle of the Bay, HU and NSU. Neither team's having a great season right now. But the big one in college football on Saturday night, let's just be honest, it is Florida State-Miami. Can the Seminoles bounce back from the defeat? Can they mess things up for Miami with Carson Beck, who can be sometimes sketchy in these big games? And I tend to see this one going down to the wire and it coming down to a field goal, because when these two play, and they're both pretty good, and right now they're both top 20 good. I know Florida State lost the game in the OTs to UVA last week in Charlottesville. Something could happen with wide right or wide left. And speaking of kicks, I mentioned it happened in the Westfield Lake Braddock game. Somebody's got to, jump in here and tell me, please, on the stream, on the Facebook, on the IG, the Twitter, the X, the YouTube, why are we getting so many kicks? NFL, college, even high school. Weather forecast. Down here, it's going to be all right. Down there, I have no idea. Let me see. It's a great question. Looks like 81 degrees is going to be right in Tallahassee, if that's what you're asking. But why are we getting so many kicks in the NFL and college football, and even a couple in high school, blocked? And I'm telling you right now, it's gonna come out. You mark my words. Mark my words on this. Baseball had steroids. Something's gonna come out about these pro kickers and inflated footballs. The guys are getting field goals from 60, 70 yards away. It's screwy to me. Even a guy just on Thursday night for the Niners, Pinheiro hits a 59-yarder and it could have gone 75. I'm just amazed at these kicks now. These guys are hitting field goals from 60, 70 yards. It's unbelievable to me. There's a great kicker in a 7.57, youngster at Cox High School, knocking them down left and right. But I'm astonished. These field goals are nothing anymore. You get to midfield and boom, you can just kick it. I mean, I'm telling you, it's like baseball with the balls being juiced. The balls are juiced. I'm here to tell you, something's not right with these kickers just kicking them like it's, home run derby. Something's not right with them. On the pro side, real quickly before we bid adieu, and baseball, I'm basically done with. My D-backs, I'm still rocking my 2023, folks, National League Championships sleeve here. They're not in the mix. I was pulling for Cleveland and Cincinnati for an all-Ohio showdown. That didn't happen. I'm dreading a Yankee-Dodger Fall Classic. If that happens, I'm boycotting it yet again. I don't want that. But on the NFL this weekend, I would love to tell you that Denver's going to knock off Philly, but I've been picking against Philly too much, so I'm not going to do it again this week. The one that is jumping out to me that I really like a lot, and I hope Coach doesn't watch this and steal this, but I really like the Seahawks at home against the banged-up Bucs. West Coast, they played the Thursday game, got the rest. Defense is playing well. It's probably my favorite pick/play of the weekend. Seattle to beat the beat-up Bucs in the Pacific Northwest. Not a great Sunday night game with Pats and Bills in Buffalo. Bills should win that easy. Really good Monday night game with the Chiefs and the Jaguars, but KC will probably find a way, whether Travis Kelce does anything or Taylor Swift was there or not. So there you have it. That's going to close out this show. Oh, Coach says Browns over Vikings. You're a much bolder man than me, Coach Dorsey. I don't see that one taking place on the other side of the pond with the new quarterback and Gabriel against that defense that the Minnesota D coordinator Brian Flores will have prepped and ready to go. And they got to play the game overseas, one already, which is going to give them a little leg up on the Browns, who have a good defense. If anything, I like the under in that game. That should be a low-scoring first to 20 wins if either one of them gets to 20. So there you go. That's a Wentz Gabriel quarterback. Ooh, I might not be waking up too early on Sunday to watch that one. I might be sleeping in a little bit. That'll do it. Tune in to 757 Sports Talk, Cova Sports TV. We'll be on with you 10 a.m. to 12 noon, as you know. And as always, enjoy your sports weekend. As it's October now, I'm liking the weather outside. It's getting better. It's feeling good. And forward to the playoffs. A lot of postseason chatter coming for you here on the IG Live special. We'll talk to you next time. Have a great rest of your weekend. See you later.